For me, storytelling is such a critical art form. There's such a richness in embracing all aspects of your cultural heritage, and if I am able to gift that to my children, then I absolutely will. I grew up in Kenya and I moved to Scotland when I was 13, but when I was in Kenya we lived in quite a rural part, so we didn't have television or anything like that, so I grew up with storytelling. It's a way of passing down tradition, it's informing about history, it's entertaining, it's education. My mother was an amazing storyteller, my grandmother used to tell me a lot of stories, and then when we moved to Scotland suddenly there was a television, so the storytelling stopped, but luckily for me the storytelling did come back when I had a daughter.
They had a beautiful little baby girl. Oh.
I wanted her to engage with her African heritage, and so I thought I would look for books, and I couldn't find the stories that I grew up on. So I thought, well, I actually know all of these stories. So I wrote a story for her, and then I found an illustrator and I set up a publishing company and I printed 1,000 copies, and my friends and family all bought books, and there were still 900 and something left. So I would hire halls and centres, and then I would invite people to listen to the story in the hope that they would buy the book. And it was through that process that you saw all these little children's faces and their eyes would widen, and it was a really amazing experience for me to actually enter this world of storytelling. Whenever I am creating a new story, the process is never really the same, and sometimes we storytellers say that it's the story that finds us rather than us going out and searching for a story. There's this big flood of words that fill my head, and I want to just get them all down, and then once they're all down, then I begin to see where the links and the threads might happen, and I use a lot of mind maps, because I think for me mind maps are just a really great way of separating stories and finding one story that might influence a particular idea or a particular theme or subject. I want to find a way to challenge this misconception of what storytelling is, where traditionally it's an older person telling to a group of children, whereas for me storytelling is so fresh, it's so dynamic, it's so relevant to the 21st century.
And wherever she went, if she saw somebody who was feeling a bit low, she would gift them a story and raise their spirits.
It's really looking at the legacy of colonialism and slavery from a Scottish perspective, or Scotland's role in that part of our history. But I wanted to explore it through a different lens by using legend, myth. For example, we have a piece in the story where there's a land in the sky, and this young man has to climb this rope to reach the land in the sky, and along the way they send all kinds of obstacles to get rid of this young man. For a lot of people, it's their experiences of immigration and the hardships that they face.
They sent hornets that stung his shoulders, his back, his legs. He cried out with pain. He continued to climb, and just as he was about to enter, they set fire to that rope.
Because they have undergone that experience, they get it immediately, whereas for other people, it is simply a rope that leads to the land in the sky. And I think the wonderful thing is that people will take it in very different ways, and even better is that if they have the conversations afterwards, then they can begin to piece threads together. If I'm able to inspire people in different ways, then great. For me, it's just watching the eyes, and you can see the imagination unfolding, and it's magical.